This Week in Connecticut with Dennis House starts now.
Welcome to This Week in Connecticut. Greetings, everyone. I'm Dennis House. Straight ahead this week, the Interstate 95 disaster. What happened and how did they reopen it so quickly? Can anything be done to stop this sort of thing from happening again? Transportation Commissioner Garrett Eucalitto is in studio with us. Then a major breakthrough with DNA solving crimes faster and faster. Jeff Derderian investigates. Plus, this young man is all over Connecticut, proving the next generation can fall in love with our state. Jimmy Official joins me. And bugs that threaten our state are here. Kent Pierce on what to do with them. Finally, a dire need for people to adopt dogs like this one. 100 are available right now at a Connecticut shelter. One of the big stories of the past week was the end of the legislative session, and we'll have more on that at the bottom of the hour on Capitol Report. Right now, though, the interstate inferno that shut down Connecticut's busiest highway. The fire was so intense, a bridge spanning I-95 had to be torn down, but it could have been much worse. And with us now is the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, Garrett Eucalitto. And Commissioner Eucalitto, you have had a busy week. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So first of all, are you surprised at just how quickly that bridge deteriorated in a fire?
No, you know, when you have gasoline ignited and burning at such a high temperature, there's always a concern you're going to have damage to the steel structures and the concrete. So with that much gasoline, 8,500 gallons, that was a huge risk.
Could your engineers tell right away when they went to the scene that this has to come down?
So even me as a non-engineer, I got to the scene and I noticed that some of the steel beams were definitely looking a little misshapen and warped. You could tell from some of the concrete there was some spalling or crackling underway. So you could tell there was some damage. The engineers then had to do a full analysis to determine, was the whole bridge lost or could we keep half of it? And that was the big question we had on our mind.
Well, I'll ask you this next question. We're going to show that speeded up time-lapse video, which is pretty incredible as to how quickly this got done. Walk us through the process.
Yeah, so for the demolition, thankfully we had a contractor right nearby, Yonkers Construction. They were working about a mile, 2 miles away from where the location was. So our chief engineer and our construction administrator got on the phone with them immediately, said, we're going to need you. We need you to come take this bridge down. They were able to pull crews, operating engineers and laborers who live in the area and were working on the other job, come in, moved the heavy equipment in, started, first hit the concrete, take all the concrete off, then bringing in these giant shears, giant scissors from New York that they used to essentially dismantle the steel structure itself.
And you had to repave the highway, obviously.
Yeah, only on one side. On the northbound side, the pavement was okay. The southbound side, we had to mill it and repave it.
You were very lucky because this could have been catastrophic in terms of casualties and things like that, which we did not have. We had minor injuries and that was it.
Yeah, we were very lucky. We were very lucky. Minor injuries, no fatalities. Fire and police responded immediately, which was very helpful as well.
And as I understand, so a driver came out and clipped one of the trucks, correct?
That's what I believe the police report says, yes.
Can the DOT go after that driver's insurance company at all if this person is determined to be at fault?
So we do have a process where anytime there's any damage to infrastructure, we do go after individuals that cause that damage.
I know this is more of a police matter, but it's really remarkable to see the people weaving in and out of traffic all the time at high speed, sometimes in front of trucks, and this is,
and people forget
becoming a problem.
Trucks have a much longer stopping distance. I mean, truckers are very highly trained individuals, but with that much weight they're carrying on their vehicles, it takes them a lot longer to stop.
It was also remarkable that there were several trucks that hit other bridges in the wake of this because they had to get on side roads. Yeah. What did you learn from that?
So this has been a problem for a while now where GPS companies are not notifying truckers that there's a low clearance bridge ahead. So New York State DOT, Connecticut DOT, Delaware DOT, we've all been trying to figure out how do we make truckers know ahead is a low clearance bridge, and we're running into a problem where we need the notification to go into the truck cab. We're putting up signs everywhere, but until we get the Waze, Google Maps to push it into the cab of the vehicle, we're going to continue to see those hits.
Does Waze and Google, do they warn truckers not to go on the Wilbur Cross and Merritt Parkways?
They do not.
They do not. Is that something that can be done? Because there are signs, but if you're not from our state, you may not know.
Yeah, technically, I think it can be done. We've had those conversations with those companies.
Interesting. Are they willing to do it, you think?
Not yet.
Not yet. What kind of damage was done to these other bridges?
Minimal damage. It caused us to shut down the road. Bridge engineers have to go out and inspect it to make sure the bridge has not shifted, it's structurally safe. It happens to road bridges, it happens to railroad bridges, and every time it happmes, we have to inspect.
Let's say a truck is spotted on the Merritt Parkway and it's heading toward a bridge it cannot clear. How do you get that truck off the highway?
Yeah.
I mean, that's complicated.
Yeah. So state police are involved, DMV inspectors are involved. Oftentimes it requires them backing up to the next exit where they can get off.
What did you learn from this accident on I-95 in terms of planning future highways and future highway repairs? And are there things that should be done differently in terms of maybe speed limits or whatever?
I'm not sure anything we've learned about the engineering of it, but I think what we have learned is that the communication is key in this type of response. The communication that occurred that first day between fire departments, local PD, state police, Department of Energy Environmental Protection crews, and the DOT team was just astounding. I think someone the other day called it a symphony of cooperation, and it really was.
Yeah, people kind of forget just how busy I-95 is. It goes from Maine to Miami. And we had a fire on the Gold Star Bridge not too long ago. And so these things can really create some, some dangerous situations, but also some real traffic jams.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Gold Star one, you had Philadelphia was I-95 as well. So it's 160,000 vehicles pass through that location in Norwalk every single day. And you think about shifting all of those individuals onto local roads. It's just, it could cripple the city. And thankfully, it was on a Thursday. It went into the weekend, less traffic. It was not as impactful.
If you could snap your fingers and money, no object, what would you do to improve I-95? Because people always complain about it.
Yeah, they do. We have a lot of exits and on-ramps and off-ramps, much more than most other states. And we don't have what are many people who come to Connecticut, we have auxiliary lanes in other parts of the country where you can accelerate before getting onto the highway. Here in Connecticut, they're so shortly spaced, you have to weave in and out to get on and off the highway. I would fix those on and off ramps to space them out a little bit more, because that's where you actually get most congestion, is people coming on, merging, weaving, and causing crashes.
This is fascinating. I didn't understand this. So there are more exits in Connecticut per mile, I guess, than in other states?
Yes.
So is it possible to shut some of them down?
You can, yeah. And so in the project we're going to be doing in Hartford, we're looking to maybe shut a few down, space them out a little bit more, cause less congestion and crashes.
Interesting. We'll have to wait and see what that happens. All right. Commissioner Garrett Eucalitto of the Department of Transportation, great job, by the way, to you and your staff. It was really remarkable how just quickly that came up.
Thanks. Yeah, the contractors on the scene and the DOT staff and first responders were fantastic.
Sounds good. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up on This Week, meet a Connecticut influencer who's having fun and always smiling. Plus, we take a closer look at new DNA technology when we come back.